everyone. Just giving it a few minutes to let everybody get online and join us for this live talk about the severe weather threat that we have for tomorrow night, late tomorrow night into early Monday morning. Just going to cover some of the updates. There hasn't been too many. We'll wait for just a second. I have my cell phone down here. If you see me glancing down, it's to keep up with comments and to answer some questions if anyone has any through the video. There we go. Okay. Well, let's get right into it, talking about the threat for severe weather starting midnight tomorrow night, and it will not currently looking like it's going to wrap up for the Panhandle. It'll exit eastward, the threat and line of storms around sunrise Monday morning. So it'll be kind of a lengthy event, but a lengthy event for the Panhandle. The actual line itself will be moving really fast, so each community under these storms, it will blow through the area really fast for each specific community in the Panhandle. That has its pros and cons. A fast-moving system means that it'll be out of your hair quicker, but it means less time to prepare for taking shelter if one particular storm goes severe or drops an isolated tornado, which we do have the chance currently for that throughout this event Monday night. So I don't believe I have heard that song. I got into weather because I love storms personally. I understand not everybody does, so I could talk about this for hours with you guys. I will try to keep it short and brief, run over a few of the reasons why we are concerned that this event could potentially become severe warned throughout or drop a tornado, talk about some of those ingredients, break it down for you, and then I'm going to wrap the video up by going through the timeline once more, just piece by piece, what the Futurecast right now is telling us that this line will move through at what hours in the overnight hours, Sunday night into Monday morning for each community. I'll try and move through that part really slow, and we will see who looks to be getting what and when. All right. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Storm Prediction Center's outlook that we've been referencing for a couple of days now. What first raises our eyebrows is if they start dropping outlooks on day 3 or 4, and there's probabilities for thunderstorms becoming strong because the ingredients that far out, the models are all lining up and saying, hey, that's all going to be in the atmosphere, and all the models agree, then that raises some eyebrows. So we start paying attention in really early, and then the closer we get to it, if that forecast holds with consistency, then we start broadcasting it as early as we can with as much confidence as we can that, hey, the earlier you know to be prepared moving into this, the safer you're going to be when it does roll over. You've already thought about your plans. You know where you're going to take shelter if a storm rolls over your particular community. The earlier you can be prepared, the better. I do love storms. I do. Yeah, I know. We're all stuck at home, and the one thing that is good about being home is you're not going to have to worry about being in the streets when this rolls over and having to find shelter, or you're already in your shelter. So when this event rolls over, yay, you're already near your shelter. So that is bonus points. We're not all spread out across the community trying to run errands, go to school, pick people up when this severe weather event rolls over. The bad thing about this severe weather event is it's an overnight one. So it's occurring while everybody's sleeping, and most meteorologists, I don't think I know a meteorologist that likes an overnight event. It's just people are sleeping. It's harder to get warnings out. I mean, if we could walk up to your TV screens and knock on it to wake you up, that would be awesome, but we can't. So we have to, continue the coverage and hope that you have alarms in your room that sound off and will wake you up if the storm becomes warned, severe thunderstorm-wise or tornado-wise. So pros and cons to being at home during certain events, especially overnight ones. So the severe weather outlook for tomorrow, we are in most of the Panhandle, we're under slight risk for severe weather, severe storms. That's going to be a 2 out of 5, which means there's a 15% chance in any one area in that yellow shaded area that a severe thunderstorm will occur within 25 miles from you. So it's not guaranteed it'll happen, and hopefully it doesn't, but there's a chance that you will be within a 25-mile radius, 15% chance of a severe thunderstorm. And then some of the portion of the Panhandle in our viewing area north into Holmes, North Walton County, and Jackson County, they are in an enhanced risk, which is 3 out of 5. So there's a 30% chance of being within 25-mile radius of a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's what this outlook is saying. Be aware there's the possibility for severe thunderstorms tomorrow. What you want to do when you have this outlook and it gives you that 1 day warning, couple days warnings, you can mentally know, okay, 2 days from now, I need to be watching that radar. I need to be listening to my local meteorologist, and I need to be listening for watches and warnings. So we'll likely be under some severe thunderstorm watches moving into tomorrow night, and you want to be familiar with where you live on a county map. So when they say watch for Walton County, Bay County, Holmes, Jackson, Gulf, Franklin, Calhoun, you know, okay, hey, I'm under a watch. I need to pay attention to see if that mutates into a warning. See, a few people are staying up. If you are home from work, that's one silver lining to, I know it's terrible to not be able to be working right now, but if you don't have to be up early for work, at least you can stay up and keep an ear out for the severe weather and not have to worry about losing sleep and then having to roll into work super tired because you were staying up and paying attention to the weather. Okay, cool. And so we'll move on to the next one. So we have this outlook telling us remain updated throughout tomorrow. And tomorrow, the day is not going to be bad at all. Your Easter festivities, if you have them around your property, won't be affected by any rain, thunder, or lightning throughout the day. But what we will get is wind. Starting in the morning time around 8 a.m., that wind is going to start picking up. And that's going to climb to 15 to 20 mile per hour sustained winds through the day. So a really breezy day in store. And throughout the afternoon, those will increase to about 25 mile per hour winds sustained, with the possibility of gusts of 35 miles per hour to 40 miles per hour. So that's your big thing throughout the day tomorrow. You don't have to worry about thunderstorms across the Panhandle tomorrow. There's a chance for a stray shower, but no severe thunderstorm warnings, no lightning. Just might get caught in a shower that moves through the Panhandle as the main system is approaching from the west. So some stray showers around throughout the day tomorrow, but you want to be mindful of the wind. If there's any loose objects around that can be picked up by that and flung your way while you're doing Easter festivities, you don't want to get hurt by that. Oh, PC misses you too, Miss Melissa Graham. I'm sorry to hear that. How will it be in the morning? Windy. So it will be just windy in the morning. Maybe a stray shower starting into the afternoon hours. You might get caught in one of those. Scrambled Easter eggs. I like that. That's funny. What are the typical... Okay, so yes, what are the typical spring ingredients that add to the severity? I'm going to go into a few of those very shortly. Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, depending on the structure you were in or how severe the thunderstorm is, being at home you can still get hurt in a storm, but you want to take shelter just in case. Always take shelter and get away from the windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So, tomorrow, stray shower, really windy, gusts of 35 to 40 miles per hour. That's going to be the big story throughout the day. Those winds will be coming from the south. Now, with those winds coming from the south, that's going to be help blowing in some of the ingredients that we'll talk about later that will fuel these storms as they move into the Panhandle. One thing I want to talk about the wind is why is it going to get so gusty tomorrow before the actual line of thunderstorms moves in overnight. Unfortunately, there is a small chance for an isolated tornado overnight with this event. So not a guarantee, but this threat is not zero. So the way the ingredients are in the atmosphere for the possibility of isolated tornadoes with this event embedded in the line of thunderstorms after midnight through sunrise. And as far as any one community, this is going to be a line of thunderstorms, and sections of it may be stronger than other sections. You might have a severe thunderstorm warned section of it. You may have one portion of the line of thunderstorms drop an isolated tornado. We won't be able to tell you exactly where that will happen ahead of time, which is why we'll be watching the radar and we will jump on if a warning, a watch becomes a warning, and then we'll try to let that community know, hey, now specifically, this did form that is it is on your way, you want to take shelter. But I can tell you, what I can tell you is that this line of thunderstorms is going to be pretty dense and pretty significant from north to south, from the Alabama state line in Florida down to the coastline. Most every community is going to have the line of thunderstorms roll over the top of you. Now, whether it's just a bunch of really heavy rain, some thunder and lightning, or whether it's severe warned, or whether it's got a possibility of a rotating aspect of it and a possible tornadic activity, that I can't tell you exactly what community that is going to happen at. But I can tell you the line of thunderstorms is going to roll over everybody. Blountstown, yep, you will get portions of this storm. You will have the line of thunderstorms roll over you. South Georgia will be affected by these line of storms too. You'll want to be paying attention to your local broadcasters for your viewing areas. They will be monitoring this as well and walking you through the event. Nope, not related to that person. It's weird. Can't hear me sometimes. I wonder if this mic is acting up. I'm gonna unmute the webcam mic just in case, and just let me know if that, I think I did both mics once and it sounded really robotic, so just let me know if that sounds weird. Let's see. Okay, so talking about the wind tomorrow, as right now, so Saturday at 8 p.m. you can see there's a low pressure to the northwest of Oklahoma City. There's a warm front to our west that is going to move through the area tomorrow through Sunday and help to bring in driving ingredients for the thunderstorms later that night. But right now, you see the lines that are going north to south. They're kind of gray. It might be hard to see on some of your devices, but that is like lines of pressure in the upper level atmosphere. And when those pressure lines get tighter, the wind gets stronger. So you can see right now we've got some southeasterly winds. They're yellow. They're not too fast. They're not too densely packed. So as we move through the day tomorrow, though, watch those lines get closer. When those lines start to get closer, that means the wind associated with those lines zooming around them, they get stronger and they get faster. So the tighter packed those pressure gradient, which is called a pressure gradient, the tighter those are packed, the stronger the winds are. So did you notice as they got tighter, our winds became more southerly and they became more dense, darker red, more intense. So as that low pressure gets stronger and it just starts to like pull all those pressure lines in and tighten them up around you, it's like swinging those winds around them even stronger as they get tightly packed together. Now, the winds right here from the south, they're southerly winds. And if you can imagine those lines, imagine those are upper level pressure lines. So the winds are going to usually run around them parallel like. So if you look at the panhandle and you see those winds are coming from the south, along those lines, they look like have more of a westerly component to them. So they're zooming around those lines kind of more southwest. That difference in the directions of the wind in different atmosphere levels is called shear. So this is an ingredient that can occur during the springtime. Think of a layer cake, and each layer of the cake the winds are slightly going different ways. And when that happens, that can create rotation. And that's what can help spin a tornado up. And that's called wind shear. And wind shear in big environments for like hurricanes out in the Atlantic, wind shear is not good for hurricanes because that difference in wind speed up there will shear off the top of a hurricane and stop its growth. Severe thunderstorms on a more smaller scale love difference in wind speeds and directions in each layer because they actually will rotate a smaller storm into a severe thunderstorm, rotating thunderstorm, potentially an isolated tornado. So that's the wind aspect. And as Sunday at 5 p.m. right there, hold on, let me check some comments here. What's the time frame from beginning to end? Moving into the panhandle right now around midnight, exiting to our east around sunrise. So a long event for the entirety of the Panhandle, but for each community specifically, it'll move through your area pretty fast. Panama City, yes, you will be receiving it. Lynn Haven, Florida, yes. Always, I'll always be safe. The timeline for Panama City, that right now it's looking at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I haven't done the timeline graphic yet, so you didn't miss that. I will actually walk through the Futurecast and we'll go piece by piece of the arrival for each of these communities for you. All right. So that warm sector has traveled north by tomorrow at 5 p.m. And that means we are in the warm sector. And there's ingredients for severe thunderstorms love to hang out in the warm sector. And then it will move the cold front by Monday at 1 a.m. This is where the cold front starts to move through the Panhandle. So you'll see the gusty winds, the southerly winds, and on the back end of it, those winds are gonna shift and they're gonna start coming out from the northwest, and then that will help chase all the ingredients out of the area that are conducive for thunderstorms. All right, let's get through this graphic. Then we'll have a high pressure on the back end of that, but this cold front stalls. So even though typically you think of a cold front moving through and a high pressure, yay, nice weather on the back end, because that cold front stalls, we'll keep rain chances through Tuesday and Wednesday, especially on Wednesday because it kind of like wants to drift back up to the Panhandle. So it'll up our chances on Wednesday. No severe weather after that expected though. So here is some of the springtime ingredients for severe thunderstorms that was asked about earlier. Monday morning on sunrise, as the thunderstorms are exiting, we'll clear out for the rest of the day. So it'll be nice, nicer for the rest of the day. We'll may have a stray shower hanging around because that cold front doesn't really exit the area super fast, but the severe weather threat will be over. Heavy downpours will be gone. No widespread showers, just the chances for showers hanging around throughout the day. But the Futurecast, actually, I'll show you later, has it being really clear. So we'll see. The dew points is a measure of how much moisture is in the atmosphere. And in the springtime, it gets warmer and the atmosphere can hold more moisture. Those dew points start to rise, and that is fuel for thunderstorms. Thunderstorms, Weewahishka, yes, you will be under it as well. That dew point moisture, thunderstorms eat that up so they can grow. And they become bigger, they become more intense. And typically with dew points, tonight we're in the 50s. And then you'll see tomorrow as that warm front that we saw earlier moves north, that's going to help drive in more moisture, and our dew points are going to get up to 70. So 62, 63, 64, 65, and up, you're like, okay, that's going to fuel a thunderstorm. We're at 70 by tomorrow afternoon, and we keep that through midnight. So that is fuel for those thunderstorms. The thunderstorms are going to eat that moisture up, and those high dew points let us know that if a thunderstorm can start to form, it's going to have a lot of moisture to eat and grow with. Panama City Beach will be around 4 a.m. as well. And like I said, I'll have a future graph that will break it down a little more visually for everyone too. We'll go through the timeline of it. And then on the back end of it, Monday through 6 a.m., you can see that those northwesterly winds that are going to be coming behind it are going to, there's a little bit of green in that top left-hand corner. I have to think about it. I'm a little dyslexic. We'll start to drive drier air back into the Panhandle and drop those dew points back down, which is always good. Want to drop those down, and the storms will have as much moisture in the air to eat. But unfortunately for this event, as the thunderstorms are forming and moving through, the dew points will be around 70. There will be fuel in the air for them to eat when they start to form. What to expect for wind and temp in Panama City Sunday during the day. Panama City Beach, along the coastline, your temperature is going to get into the lower 80s, and it will be gusty. 15 to 20 miles sustained winds with gusts from 35 to 40. Cool. All right, so the next ingredient, this one's a little more technical, and it's called CAPE, and you may have heard about it already. Convective Available Potential Energy. It's a really fancy way of saying how unstable is the atmosphere. Air parcels can be, if the atmosphere is conducive for them, going either way on the spectrum of how buoyant they are or how buoyant they aren't. If there's a lot of CAPE, a lot of convective available potential energy, that air parcel when it rises up with a thunderstorm, when it starts to rise, how easy and how much more easier will it be for that air parcel to shoot up in the air, like really buoyant. Like once it starts rising, it doesn't want to stop rising. Lots of CAPE causes that. It is an atmosphere ingredient that allows that air parcel to rise and then not stop rising, and in some cases just get super more unstable and rise even faster and even more intense, making for strong thunderstorms becoming severe. If there's not a lot of CAPE in the atmosphere, then it's not as unstable, it's not as buoyant. That air parcel rises, like whoop, but then maybe it's like nah, and it sinks back down, and maybe it sinks up, and you'll see wavy clouds like in the atmosphere sometimes when it's just not really buoyant. The air's just acting like a wave. That's low convective available potential energy. So moving into tomorrow, as that warm front moves over us, you will see that it drives convective available potential energy into the panhandle. That's these colors. I think this is really pretty graphic. So you can see the southerly winds driving this unstable atmosphere into the panhandle. The yellow, the greens, the blues being not so unstable, the greens getting a little more unstable, yellow getting pretty unstable, lots more CAPE in the atmosphere. So by Sunday afternoon, you can see the panhandle, we've got a bunch of yellow. And tomorrow we're forecasting, tomorrow evening, it could be anywhere between 500 and 1200 joules of CAPE in the air, and that's relatively significant. That's just a lot of energy for a storm to take advantage of if it starts to rise. That energy is going to help that storm rise up even faster, stronger, more intense. So as this line of storms start to move through on midnight Monday, entering the panhandle, you can see that it's going through Bay County, Holmes, Washington right there at about 3 a.m. That's not Bay County. That'd be more like Walton. Walton and Holmes at 3 a.m. All of that convective available potential energy that was in front of it, those line of storms is just going to be eating that up. And it's going to make that line of storms, if those storms can form, which we have high confidence that they are going to be forming, they are going to be in a very unstable environment where they can form, continue to form, rise up, be super buoyant, continue to get stronger, continue to get more severe, and possibly drop isolated tornadoes throughout the line. And since this will be a line of storms, and unfortunately overnight tornadoes are so dangerous because it's night, you can't see them. And with these storms, even during the day, they probably would be rain wrapped. So it's just very important to be listening to your broadcast meteorologists. If you understand how to look, work a radar, there's indicators on the radar that'll tell you there's possibly a tornado in this part of the storm. You want to pay attention to that and take shelter if the radar is saying, hey, there's probably a tornado in there, even though you can't see it. If you don't know how to work a radar, don't worry, we do. We're going to be watching it all night tomorrow. Ross will be coming in. I'm going to be staying late after my shift tomorrow. Lauren will be coming in for her shift Monday morning. So all three of us are going to be in the house watching this radar for you. And if we need to tell you you need to be worried, we will be sounding the alarms all over social media, on the wall if we need to break in for a tornado warning. The rain to begin on Sunday. They'll have stray chances for showers throughout the whole day, but the main line of heavy downpours doesn't start till after most people go to bed, around midnight, unfortunately. How windy? Very windy. Tomorrow will be 15 to 25 miles per hour. Sustained winds starting from like the 8 a.m. morning time, like getting up to 15 at 8 a.m., 20 by noon, and we hang on to that throughout Monday morning. So throughout the afternoon on Sunday, you can have possibly gusts up to 35 to 40 miles per hour. Can you tell folks about the Hook Echo on a radar? So when you were looking at radar, and I wish I had a graphic of one up. There's a storm on the radar can look a certain way. That's called a hook. And I want to do it with my hands. It's just not going to work. But that hook echo is a good indicator via radar that this storm is rotating. Basically, a hook echo is telling you the storm is rotating. And then you want to look at other aspects of the radar, such as the velocity, which way the winds are going around that hook echo on the radar, where it's telling you, hey, the storm's likely rotating. There's a portion of the storm that has inflow of air and then outflow of air, and it forms that hook. And then there's the velocity signatures when you look at the different winds in that one particular storm that's becoming a hook that can tell you how significant of a rotation is there in that storm, and is a tornado likely forming in it. All right. So eats up all that convective available potential energy, and then on the back end of it, the northwesterly winds will start to drive dry air into the panhandle, which helps to drive away the unstable attitude of the air to our east. But the front is going to stall, so that convective available potential energy kind of hangs off to our east for a little bit around that boundary. So here's what I think most people want to see, is the future cast. So here's where we are going to break down the arrival of the rain, the heavy downpours, the possibility of severe thunderstorms for each community across the panhandle. Now, this is as the Futurecast is modeling it right now. There is a chance that any one time for any one community can shift an hour to a couple hours here or there, which is why we say stay tuned, stay updated leading into the weather event, so that if tomorrow at 10 a.m. the model's like, you know what, we actually think it's going to happen 3 hours earlier, you know, okay, I need to be really watching the weather at this time. All right, so tomorrow morning we'll have the southeasterly winds. We'll have a nice calm start to the morning. They'll start to pick up in speed, becoming 15 miles per hour. We'll have southeasterly winds. You'll see the stray showers moving in a westward manner eastward as the main front approaches us from the west. Throughout the day, you'll have that chance for a stray shower. You might get caught in a stray shower. No real thunderstorms or heavy downpours or anything like that to worry about. It's going to be really gusty, but relatively clear rain-wise for your dinner time hours. And then, here we are, midnight. So at the moment, the Futurecast is predicting it will enter the western panhandle of Florida starting at midnight. Definiak Springs, Walton County, you'll see some showers. The worst of the weather for Walton County will start to move in between midnight and 2 a.m. So for Walton County communities, you want to start tuning into, if you're awake, to the social media pages of Chief Meteorologist Ross Whitley, myself. Lauren Hope will be in a little bit later in the morning. Ross will already be in here, so between midnight and 2 a.m., if one of those storms was to become severe, we would be putting it all over social media, WMBB's page, our professional pages. If any one of those storms dropped a tornado, Ross or myself will be getting on the wall to do a tornado warning coverage. And that's currently between midnight and 2 a.m. for Walton County and all communities in there. Definiak Springs, Freeport. And then by 3 a.m., Holmes County, Washington County, the just western edge of Bay County, so Panama City Beach, it'll start rolling into Panama City Beach around 3 a.m. The worst part of this line of storms, which is when you're going to want to be paying attention because likely at this point, they may already be severe warned, so you want to already be taking shelter, staying away from the windows, listening for an update of a severe thunderstorm warning turning into a tornado warning at about 3 a.m. for Panama City Beach, most of Washington County, Holmes County, Jackson County will be seeing rain start to move into the area, Marianna, Blountstown, and then by 4 a.m. Bay County, it's predicted that Bay County will be receiving the worst of the line of storms by 4 a.m. Marianna, Jackson County, Calhoun County, it'll be entering your county. Blountstown, you will be on the leading edge at 4 a.m. for the worst part of this line of storms. So this is when you want to be like really weather aware. Am I in a watch? Am I in a warning? If you're awake, have channel 2 on. So if one of us jumps on and say, hey, there is a tornado warning, 4 a.m. currently is when Calhoun County wants to really start paying attention. There is always a chance that the ingredients for this line of thunderstorms that we are forecasting to shift northward or become less, work together less well for these strong thunderstorms to form. Hopefully, that's what happens. Hopefully, the ingredients in the atmosphere don't work together well enough to form incredibly strong severe thunderstorms or that isolated tornado. You don't want to hope for it to go anywhere else, because that's just another community that's going to be under it. But everybody in the path of this line of storms, which will extend across the entire southeast, the Panhandle is not the only community in the path of this springtime storm system. It's the entire southeast. There are millions of people being asked to remain weather aware and updated through tomorrow night. So hopefully everyone is going to be on my mind and in my heart throughout tomorrow night into Monday morning, and hopefully we're not having to issue warnings for our community. But everybody in the path of it will be on my mind. And hopefully it does die down. There is always that chance. Wind strength, throughout the day, you're going to have 15 to 25 mile per hour sustained winds with gusts up to 35 to 40 miles per hour. So pretty gusty day. In any one particular storm, if it's severe thunderstorm warmed, that thunderstorm could be producing 54 mile per hour winds, 60 mile per hour winds, even possibly 80 mile per hour winds in a severe thunderstorm. So you don't need a tornado to cause damage on your property or in your home. The 80 mile per hour